So welcome to the driving experience video of the Renault Fluence. If you're interested in the walk around tour of this car, you can also watch it through the link in the description. There will be a link to that video. So let's get straight into this car. This car has a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine. I believe it's from the Sylphy, and the transmission is a CVT gearbox with 6 virtual gears. Well, personally I don't really like CVTs because of the loud growling noise when you really accelerate. But in this car, the NVH is actually not that bad, so it's still okay. But unless you really floor it. So if you have watched my 2 other videos, you would have heard me saying that this car has been driven for 48,000 kilometers. And going through those bumps at the back, there isn't really a lot of rattling noise, which actually shows that the build quality of this car is actually very good. So this 2-liter naturally aspirated engine actually gives out 143 horsepower and 190 Newton meters of torque. Those aren't really fast figures. I believe the 0 to 100 is 10.1 seconds. But somehow this digital speedometer is actually really responsive, and in a way it actually makes me feel like I'm going very fast because of the responsiveness of the speedometer. It's like playing tricks with my mind that this is actually a fast car because it increases quite quickly. So the seats are all manual controlled. You can move it forward, backwards, recline, and also adjust the height of the seat. I believe I mentioned this in the walk around tour video as well. I prefer if the seat has better side bolsters and also thigh bolsters. Since I'm on the highway, I would like to note that this car actually fares quite well as a cruiser at low speeds. And since picking up this car, I actually realized that the fuel consumption is not really low for this kind of car. I have been driving quite sedately, I believe. The best consumption that I was getting was about 10.1, which isn't really low to most of you guys, but it is what it is. But seriously, NVH is really not bad in this car for a C segment. Engine noise is actually not very intrusive. The steering actually feel quite plasticky. At least there are some indentations at 9 and 3, which is my favorite position to hold the steering. And this steering is actually a variable powered assisted steering, which means that at different speed you would actually be assisted in different ways. That means it will become tighter if you go at higher speed. And these things right here are controls for your cruise control and also speed limiter, which happen to sit right here. And no, I've not forgotten about the throttle response. When I first got the car, I had to get used to it for the first few minutes. I wasn't really used to the throttle response. It was really light. That means if I just step a bit and it would like move off like that. But like I said, it didn't really take me that long to get used to the throttle response. And the brakes are decent. I can't really comment on the brakes actually, because I'm not sure if the brakes are actually fairly new or what, since this car has been driven for 48,000 kilometers. Judging from the fact that the tires aren't in the best conditions, since this is a media car. Well, those are my observations before I drove the car. The suspension on this car is also set up in a way that it's not too jittery. It's quite decent, I would say. If you go through bumps, at certain bumps it's actually quite smooth, I realize. And I can't really comment on the road noise because I'm not sure if this is showing up in the video. Like I said, the tires are really worn out. And seat wise, I think everything seems to be fine except for 2 things. The left foot rest, I would actually prefer it to be a little wider because it is really to the left. And this R-Link touchscreen, I'm not sure if you guys realize it is actually situated quite far away. There's probably about 3 inches space in between the screen and my hands. And it is a touch screen, supposed to be a touch screen for you to touch. And something else that I realized, this left stop and the right stop actually have different distances from the steering. This is actually further, or maybe I'm just OCD about it. It does feel further. There's really nothing else that I could really point out in this car. It's a fairly practical and basic car. If you'd like to know more, you might want to watch my 2 other videos about this car. Maybe you would get more information out of it. If you have any questions, as usual, just comment down below and I'll try to answer your questions. So thanks for watching, guys.